So you have an accepted offer, an executed contract. What comes next? Stick with me and I'll let you know about the closing process. Hi, I'm Robert Cackett with Xtreme International Realty, here serving South Florida and here to help you reach your real estate. Congratulations. Your offer was accepted. You have an executed contract in hand. Now what happens? Well, now we enter the final phase of the home buying process. We enter the closing phase. Here, there's a lot of things that happen at the same time. This phase usually lasts somewhere between 21 and 45 days, depending on financing and a couple of other factors. But this is the time where things get serious. We're finalizing the transaction, and at the end of this, you're officially a homeowner. So let's go over the 4 steps that are necessary before we get to the closing. The first thing we have to do once we have an executed contract is notify the lender. Really, besides you and your realtor, the first person who knows that our offer was accepted is the lender. Now, this is when their job gets done in earnest. This is when we have to have a lot of patience and be diligent in giving them the information they ask for. During this part, the lender begins its final underwriting and final approval phase. They're going to double check everything and all the information you have given them. They're going to ask you for updates in pay stubs, updates in bank statements, and everything else. They're going to do one last run of credit, make sure everything is still the same, and they will double check and make sure there's no issues going forward. The end result of this is going to be the issuing of a clear to close order from the underwriter, an issuing of a final CD from the lender, and obviously after the final CD, about 3 days later, according to law, we will be able to close. So this usually takes somewhere between 21 to 30 plus or minus days as the lender reviews all documentation, asks you for new documentation if needed, and does their due diligence in order to issue you a loan. But the outcome is going to be ownership in a new home. Second, but almost at the same time as we're communicating with the lender, we're going to be communicating with the title company or attorney so they can begin their process. The title company, as you know, is in charge of making sure that the transfer of that real property, that real estate, from seller to buyer is done so legally and without any impediments. Again, they're going to take roughly about 21 to 30 days to do their due diligence on the property to make sure everything is okay. Obviously, it can be faster or slower depending on the city or if there's a community, an HOA or a condo association involved. But the title company is the person, is the entity who's going to be in charge of making sure that everything is as it should be, and for this to be able to close cleanly. They'll make sure that everything that's stated on the contract gets done so we can get to the closing table with all conditions met and ready to fund and ready for ownership to be transferred to you. Within that same time period, we go to step number 3, which is the application to the homeowner association or condominium association, assuming there is one. Now, if there is none, then we don't have to do this step. But a lot of times, especially here in South Florida, there is some kind of homeowners association involved, be it condo, POA, any of the different kinds there are. Now, by law, these associations have up to 30 days to process your application to become a part of the association, and they can even deny a person from joining the community. So it's an important step that comes in at the end. Within 5 days, normally according to contract, the buyer has to present their application to the condo association in order to be compliant with the contract. Now, the sooner the better, because as I said, they have up to 30 days. A lot of them will take that time, but for the most part, we should be hearing answers from associations between 2 weeks to 3 weeks, assuming everything is okay. Now, if there is a condo association, or a homeowners association that requires approval, the sale cannot be completed unless there is an approval certificate that's going to be attached to the deed. So it is an important factor. And sometimes it becomes a little bit of a hectic factor as we are going through that process. So again, another hoop we have to jump through that can also take up to 30 days. So the sooner we do that, the better. However, within that time period, and once we get issued the association certificate of approval, then there's nothing left to do but wait for everything to come back so we can get to the closing. And that brings us to the fourth and final step, the closing. So once the lender has gone through its underwriting process and issued its clear to close, provided the CD and giving you the 3 days that are required by law, we're ready on the lender side. Once the title company has issued their clear title and are ready to issue your title insurance policy, they're ready on their side. And once we have the certificate of approval from the association, be it condo or homeowners, we're ready on that side. So all three things are set. All that's left is for us as the buyers to wire. And here in Florida, we have to wire. We can't do a certified check or a personal check or even a business check. It has to be a wire transfer. We transfer our funds to the title company's escrow account, and we're ready to go. We will meet at the title company. We'll sit down at the table. We will review all the documentations. The closer will go over everything with you, and we begin signing. At the end of that signature, the title company's attorney will review the documents. We'll send them off to the lender for them to review. And if everything is in order, the lender will issue their funding order. The title company's escrow account will have all the funds from all the parties. They'll issue everybody a funding order also. And with that, as buyers, we'll get the title, a copy of the warranty deed, and we'll get the all-important keys. And as of that moment, congratulations, you're a homeowner.